How High the Moon is, I think, the perfect example to show the relationship between the repertoire of bebop and the repertoire of show tunes in musical theater. That's where this tune comes from. It comes from a review show in the 1940s. And as soon as Benny Goodman performed it, it really kind of became known as a great jazz standard. And I think that the legend of this tune continued even further in the hands of people like Ella Fitzgerald. And of course, Charlie Parker took this chord progression and created, I think, kind of a bebop anthem, which would be ornithology, right? This is a contrafact. Ornithology is, meaning that it's a new tune or a new melody, which Parker based off of an existing chord progression. Of course, that chord progression is How High the Moon. So let's dig into this chord progression and take a look at some of the cool things that occur. I mean, number one, this is just simply a great melody. And I think it's a melody that is definitely worth learning. And I'm not just talking about ornithology, I'm talking about the original How High the Moon. It's lyrical. It does a great job of just connecting chord structure through guide tones. And again, there's a lot to learn just by becoming really familiar with the melody. But it wasn't the melody necessarily that kind of inspired beboppers to improvise on this. It was the chord progression. And here we have, I think, a really simple device because we have three key centers, concert G, concert F, and concert E flat. And each of those key centers really relate by whole step. So starting in our concert G major, that G major chord literally converts to a minor chord and becomes a 2 chord of the next 2-5-1 in F. And that relationship continues as we connect F to E flat. And it really spends kind of the first half of that form kind of moving through those keys. And then the rest of this, the other 8 measures here, is really all about trying to find our way back to G major. And first we do that by landing, we have a short minor 2-5-1 to G minor, and then the harmonic rhythm speeds up as we just keep cycling through 2-5, 2-5, a little bit of chromatic descending, right? Getting back to our G major finally, right? And that's really kind of the whole point of this, that we create kind of these 3 different key centers and then kind of an extension that tries to pull us back to our original key center. One of the things about this musical form that I think is important too is that this is kind of a standard kind of practice that jazz tunes follow from the musical theater practice, where we have the 16-bar melody, but the 16-bar melody repeats itself into a 32-bar form. With kind of a first ending, second ending. And here, it's not so much that the chords are different, first ending to second ending, it's just that the melody actually presents itself a little bit differently as we go. But the full form of this would be a 32-bar form and not a 16-bar form as we approach that. So what are some ways that we can improvise on this? One of the things that I'm always trying to do in these videos is to use kind of our key centers to connect to language and to improvisation. So with the 3-2-5-1s that we have here, this once again provides a great avenue to develop language through those different keys and implement language in those 3 different keys as well. So that, to me, this tune is great for that. But the other thing too is starting to develop our own language in these keys and just take simple ideas, simple bebop ideas, enclosures, broken 7th chord ideas, bebop scale ideas, and move it from one key center down a whole step to the next key center, and then again for the 3rd key center. This provides a really good opportunity for that and kind of making those changes from key center to key center to key center, which I think is valuable. The other aspect too is that as the harmonic rhythm speeds up, I'm having to make the change, right, from a 2 chord to a 5 chord in 2 count units and not 4 count units. And I think that is also valuable too. But the other part of this is that melody, because one of the things that I said was that the melody actually follows guide tones. And there's a great kind of resolution as that also moves down the chord structure. Do-dee-doo-dee-doo, do-dee-doo-dee, do-dee-doo-doo-dee, do-doo-doo-dee. So one of the cool things here is, can you compose a new contrafact? Can you develop a new melody that is kind of connecting those guide tones? To me, this is a great chord progression and a great exercise on that. In playing something that can be played very, very fast, but can we be lyrical in that tempo, right? Can we really create melody and not just play a whole bunch of licks or a whole bunch of notes, but can we be lyrical on the chord progression? And I think this just provides a really, really great opportunity for that as well.